Obviously doing something a little bit different tonight just for the hell of it. Welcome to the first cooking stream. Tonight we are going to be doing banh mi bowls, one of my definitely go-tos. It is cheap, easy, and always delicious. We'll see how things go tonight. It's definitely going to be kind of flying by the seat of our pants. My webcam's been cutting out a little bit just randomly. I will do my best to pay attention and catch it if it happens. But if there's just frozen screen for a couple of seconds, my apologies. But we shall get started with the first step. This will actually behave itself. So, most important thing in doing a bowl is obviously your rice. We're going for, this is dripping everywhere. I'm smart. We have, you can definitely taste test it. So we got 2 cups of rice. You want to rinse your rice. There's plenty of starch that sits on that, so if you rinse it through until the water comes out clear, it won't stick together as bad. And then we have our handy dandy bowl for, you can use a rice cooker. I am lazy, so I use a pressure cooker most of the time. And there is a nifty trick for doing rice. So you make sure it's nice and even. I will clean the carpet. I'll do it later. So obviously there are recipes. You can just measure out your water for your rice. But if you are lazy like me, there is a nice little trick. So angle the camera so you can see what's going on here. Or actually just hold this. So, don't need that on the screen. With your rice, one of the easiest ways to do it is test with your finger. So if there's enough water that, I need to learn where my hand is, it goes to the top of your first knuckle, pushing your finger down into the rice, you have enough water. Let me actually get down in there. You have enough water to cook your rice through and not have to measure anything, which is always nice. Get that reset. There we go. And then, since we're using an Instapot, which cilantro sprig trying to hide in there. Actually, first thing, seasoning is never a bad thing. Always toss in just a touch of salt. There's other things you can add in if you want for whatever your flavor is. And then we will close this up, make sure it's sealed, and I just do manual for 10 minutes, make it nice and easy. The next most important step, since it's something that kind of takes some time to cook through, stop yelling at me. Stop it. Next thing we'll do is we're going to get started on our pickled carrots. And for that, you're going to go 2-to-1 water to vinegar. So I have in my little saucepan already starting to heat up so it doesn't take too long. Cup of water. So I'm going to eyeball it because, again, I am lazy in the kitchen. But you'll go for about a 1/2 cup of vinegar. And we'll sprinkle in a little bit of salt. And let's see here. I'll give it just a touch of some sugar as well. And then pickled things are always easy. You will literally just wait until your water's boiling, add your stuff in. If you're doing a quick pickle, honestly, usually I'll leave it on high, still cooking for like 2 or 3 minutes just so it softens them up, gets that flavor breaking through, but doesn't overcook. And then you'll just turn it off and set it aside. We will let that come to a boil. I'm going to turn on the double burners because I want it done faster. All right, next step. Let's see. Get this thing angled down. My apologies that my apron is a mess. Obviously, oh, I know what I'm doing. This is very accurate. But next thing we're going to do, we're going to make our meatballs. And For these, I go up. Yep, there we go. Let me get that cam back up and running. My apologies, everyone. My webcam is being a piece of shit. But see, this is precisely why I have a plan. Now we're back up and good. Okay. So we have about 1.5 pounds of ground turkey here. First thing we're going to do is, there's my spoon. I got a little piece of fresh ginger here. We're going to take this and peel it first. And a little trick, if you didn't know, is a spoon is actually the best tool for peeling your ginger. So you will, and this has been frozen, so it's going to be a little bit extra soft, but you just glide that spoon along it. And that peel typically comes right off. Again, this is frozen ginger because I forgot to buy some beforehand. But we're going to make it work. Almost there. Yeah, I'm going to just brutalize the fuck out of this ginger, but it still eats the same. Okay. And so we've got our ground turkey here. Let me get this out of the way. And next step, we got our microplaner. Oh my god, it's going to do it again, isn't it? I don't know why, but this camera likes to disconnect itself whenever it is sitting just a little bit down like this. So my apologies. It's going to be like an every 2-minute thing while I'm doing this. So microplaner, and you are just going to grate your ginger right on in. I'll usually go for a pretty small piece just so it's enough to get that flavor through, but you don't want it to be too strong, as ginger obviously can be. And we are just about boiling on our pickle brine, which actually we are rolling. I'm going to turn that down for a sec. But we've got our ginger grated in. And with the microplaner, you're usually going to have to kind of scrape it out. But such is life. We'll set this aside to use again. And we will... Whoop, and it's doing it again. My God. I need to invest in a better camera, apparently, because this is absurd. There we go. Now we're back. Okay. So, as you can see, nice, steamy, boiling water. I have pre-sliced carrots here. I did it off stream, just want to make things nice and smooth. And you'll want to go pretty thin with them, you know. You want them to be thick enough there's a little bit of bite, but also not so thin that they're going to kind of fall apart. And we'll keep that rolling on high. And just a minute or two with that thing boiling, and we'll cut the heat on that. Let's see, I'm going to try something different for this, and we'll see if it doesn't decide to hate me. Okay. Better. So, we've got our ginger and our meat. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a lime and set half of it aside for later. We're going to use that for garnish. And the other half we are going to grate right on in. It's a personal preference thing, but I like the just extra little pop of brightness using a little bit of fresh lime. There we go. All done with the microplaner. And at this point, our carrots have gone on long enough that we can turn the heat off on that and set it aside. Because you want them to be a little bit warm if you're doing them fresh, but not like boiling hot. Don't need this out anymore. Okay, back to our meatballs. This Multitasking is a skill I have sometimes. Next, thank you, bro. It is. I don't know where the camera is. Apparently, it is very fitting for who I am. So, next step for your meatballs is we're gonna add. You can do soy sauce or whatever your preference is for that kind of thing. I personally go for liquid aminos most of the time, and just a little splash of that, enough to get the flavor, but not be too overpowering. And next up, to my Vanna White here, we have. Apparently, I don't know how fucking cameras work because I keep pointing in the wrong direction. We got some mirror in here. That'll add just a little extra flavor, so we'll add even less of a splash of that because you don't want it to be too strong. I mean, I can't. There's no way to see it all in my face unless I'm literally down here. And I don't know about you guys, but this is a little weird. Next step, we will add a pinch of salt. And you can either use you can use some fresh garlic, or personally, most of the time I am too lazy unless I have minced garlic around, which is fine to use no matter what anybody says. It still tastes the same. But you'll add some either fresh garlic or garlic powder. And just for flavor's sake, a little bit of minced onion. And obviously, since they are the base of like every flavor, salt and pepper are necessary. So we'll do some fresh cracked pepper. There we go. Our handy dandy egg. I meant to do that. You will crack your egg right on in. My hands are a mess. I'll be back. And the last step, which is going to be, we're going to have to swap around for a different stand for the camera. Next step is breadcrumbs. For this kind of dish, panko usually works. Honestly, whatever. I will tip the bowl when it is done. I got this. You can use whatever breadcrumbs you want or what you have. So now that we are all ingrediented up, so we got our turkey, our lime zest, fresh ginger, garlic powder, salt, pepper, an egg for that binder, and breadcrumbs. And usually what I do before I start, before I start actually mixing it up, is we will come over to the stove. Just gonna have to hold this with one hand because it wants to turn. And I will get my pan starting to heat up. So since we don't want it to be too hot when we slap those guys in, I'll do it on low, medium, low, and a little bit of coconut oil. Whatever your oil of choice is, go right ahead. Doesn't really matter. I like coconut oil for this because it adds just a little extra flavor. Oh my god, this thing is so clogged. We're going to have to fix that later. But now, back to the fun ASMR part of all of this. As my rice cooker starts screaming. You cool? Are we good? We friends? We're friends. Alright. So next up, you gotta get your hands dirty. And it is time to mix up all your tasty meat. And for these, you want them to be moist, but not like wet to the touch. They'll be kind of sticky, but there won't be a lot of residual moisture around. And then for this dish, I usually grab about like a palm full, and then we'll just roll it up real nice. And we will be doing this for all of it, but what I also usually do is I start tossing them in the pan. I need to turn this a little bit more. There we go. All right, I usually start tossing them in the pan. That way we can just kind of keep things moving at a steady pace. There, as long as you're on top of it and moving fast enough, they will never cook too much faster than the rest of them. And obviously, if you are not a fan of getting dirty, not necessarily the most fun dish to do, but personally, it has never been a problem. Let's see here. And size-wise, it doesn't really matter. I usually do them so they're about like 2 bites worth, and that's seems to work well for the bowl. And using ground turkey definitely helps lean a little bit more into that Vietnamese flavor of the dish. Yeah, don't, just in case you didn't know, have to get really fucking low to get in the screen. Don't eat this. Don't eat raw meat. It's not smart. And also, don't mind my doggo in the background. She has many opinions. We are almost done. Not with the dish, just with this part. Then I'll show you guys how I usually arrange them in the pan so they get nice and evenly cooked. And then another personally important step is I always spray a little bit of oil over the top of them as well. That way they're less likely to stick to your pan. Got just a couple more left. And if we do more of these, I will definitely figure out a better camera setup. It works well enough, but not really. Grab a little bit more of that. Okay, and then the last one's a little tiny. Okay, let me wash my hands and I'll be back to the camera. Wash your hands after you touch ground, or not ground, anytime you touch raw meat. Nobody wants to go get E. coli. Go. All right. So back on over to our pan. If I can aim this right. We got everything all put together. Once it's all in the pan, I'll kick it up to about a medium high. And then, as I mentioned, you'll want to give just a little spray to the top of these. That way when you flip them, they don't stick to the pan. So leave this up here for now. Face level? Yeah, we'll call that good. All right. And lastly, lid. It'll be hot enough in the bottom of the pan that they will cook up and crisp up really nice. So steaming them will help them just cook through a little bit faster so you don't have to worry about burning them at all. All right. Now we still have just about 5 minutes left on our rice. So far, timing's working. What we'll do now, I know I didn't put away what I needed. Next step is making our sriracha mayo. You're not going to be able to see that at all because of the lighting. So, it's invisible to you guys, but in this bowl is mayonnaise. I've got, we'll just come right back down here.
Once you add the sriracha, it'll show.
Exactly. All right. So, first step, you're going to add your sriracha. It is, gotta figure out, better. Okay. So, I always open it over my eyes after shaking it. I didn't get it in my eyes this time, but don't do that for anybody out there. Don't be like me. Be smart. Personally, I go by I go by the color of it rather than actually having a recipe. So we got our sriracha, and then we'll come back for more soy sauce, liquid aminos, whatever your personal preference is for that salty goodness. And then, if you have one, tiny whisk is great. If not, honestly, I usually just use a fork. Make it easy, and then we'll just mix this up. And always make sure to scrape your sides. Get all that good stuff moving through. And let's see. Our meatballs still have another minute or two before they're going to need to flip. So this is usually my first step after I get the meatballs in, is I get this made and ready to go. Can't really see compared to what it actually looks like, but it's just it's a nice pale pink. And then obviously taste test. Make sure it's got a good spice level for you. That is not hot enough. And the sriracha is fighting me. It needs just a little bit more sauce. And we'll just mix it up again. Yeah, that looks a little better. And just to be safe, give it a little taste test. That is, you want it to be nice and salty and just a teeny bit spicy, but not overwhelming, at least for my personal taste. Next step, I'll just see if this is going to actually come with me. Good? We're good. Okay. Next step is nice and easy. At this point, your meatballs have been on long enough that they should be about ready to flip. And, well, I'm going to turn that up a little bit. I'll show you guys this first one. We're getting pretty good, but we don't have that browning and that caramelization yet. So we'll just kind of check, make sure nothing's sticking too hard. And we'll still leave those for another couple of minutes. And back to more prep. So we have our rice almost done. As you can see, we got 4 minutes left. I did this beforehand because I didn't want to be too boring. We've got, personally, I like to add some sauteed veggies in. I need to remember that the camera is over here. I have a functioning brain sometimes. So, nice and easy. Just some sliced mushrooms, onions, and bell peppers is usually my choice. Something to add a little extra flavor. Slide this on down and hide that mouse. Alright. Now we can start working on some of the other garnishes. Well, the meatballs are starting to scream. I think we can wait just long enough to do the cucumber. And for cucumber for this, I usually go ahead and peel it. There's nothing wrong with eating the outside. It's just more of an aesthetic thing. So I'll take my slice, cut the top and bottoms off. Quick and easy. And then for presentation's sake, I'm going to take off this bit and set it aside. We're going to cut it at just a little bit of an angle, just to give it a little extra character. And that one is mine. Now we can come on back over. I said back over. Back over. Stop that, camera. Back on over to our meatballs. And they're still coming along. There we go. Okay. One of the things about an electric stovetop is it doesn't cook all that even. So, like, we've got this guy on the outside that, not the mic, the camera, still isn't quite done. And then we've got one of these guys in the middle where it is that beautiful golden brown. So we'll check on through them, see what needs to be flipped and what needs another minute. Because we just want it nice and caramelized along the outside. It's all about that beautiful color. And for some reason, it's just two of these stupid meatballs that don't want to crisp. And make sure you put your lid back on. And since we've got another moment, we'll come back for more prep. I'll slide this where it is decently visible. I made a mess with sriracha. I always do that. I don't mean for it to happen, but I just do. So next up is going to be your lime. It is really whatever your preference is for presentation. Personally, I like wedges. So we'll cut this in half. Cut it down into eighths like so. And that is our rice getting done. So go ahead and cut these up and set it aside and then check on our rice. At this point we're, I'd say, at least like 2/3 of the way done with everything. It's definitely a quick and fairly easy dinner. We got our pressure cooker. If you haven't ever used one of these before, there's the handy little release valve on top, and you just turn that thing over. Which I will turn the levels down so you guys don't get your eardrums blown out by the steam. And it takes forever. That is the other thing. It takes at least, we'll just move the camera up. It takes a couple of minutes, and as you can see, it just spews out steam. But that is just about done. Once the pressure's released, it is totally good to go. And next up, we'll come back over to our stovetop. And at this point, things are coming along well enough that I will get my veggies going. Use the already mostly hot stovetop. We got some olive oil here. We'll just give enough of a drizzle. This thing is almost out. Enough of a drizzle to cover your pan. So nice and easy. We'll let that heat up for a sec while we flip our meatballs. They are coming along deliciously. And for anyone that doesn't know, for poultry, you're looking for 165 degrees. Personally, I always rely on my thermometer over literally anything else. You can, by touch, figure it out, but I prefer to be sure. Give these guys a good flip. It would actually behave itself, which it does not want to do. Are you going to be nice to me, friends? I only want to eat you. That is all. There we go. And we'll keep that lid going. Those are probably pretty close. So we'll leave those for another couple of minutes and we'll come back to get a little bit more of our garnishes. There goes. So for topping these bad boys, there's not a huge color variance in this, as you can see. It's a lot of green. We got lime, we got cucumbers, we got fresh cilantro, some green onion, and avocado as well. For your cilantro, personal preference for this, honestly what I like to do is I like to just have a full stem for nice easy presentation. So that is ready to go. We'll set that aside. Next up comes our green onions. And we are going to see if I remember how to do this. So if I remember right, this is called a Chinese cut, but also that was by a middle-aged white dude, so there's a decent chance that that was horribly racist, and at that point I am so sorry, everyone. But you will have them stacked up, which you can slice these guys off here. And you'll stack them up. It'll behave itself. Press them down. You'll, just like with the cucumbers, you'll start with a cut on the bias. That way you got a nice clean edge. And you will be cutting pieces like so. So you got a nice little circle. So again, you're just going to make sure there's compression, even pressure. Cut it at an angle. Here, I'll turn this around that way you can see how it's coming off the other end. And just like that, you got a nice, easy garnish for your green onions. So we're just about done. We've got everything but the avocado cut, so let's come on back over. And we're going to check our meatballs. At this point, we don't need our lid. Typically, I do dishes as I go, but I don't want you guys to get annoyed with all kinds of water noise in the background. And the camera froze. It always does this. At least today, it always does this. Let's see, y'all. There we go. Haha, now we're back. Okay. So you want to always check your temperatures in the middle. And you're looking for anything over 165. These are, you don't have to check them all. Just check a couple, see how they're doing. These are all hitting well over, probably at around 170 for all of them. I'm getting a phone call. It is, of course, as always, spam. And my fucking camera, God, I don't know why, but here, we'll get this fixed again. Yes, remove. This is so very dumb. Oh, yay. Okay, well, I don't know why, but my camera is shitting the bed today. So my apologies, everyone. Give me one moment here to troubleshoot this. Everything is fine. The meatballs are done. They are pulled off the stovetop. Our oil is still heating up for... Okay, come on now. I think my camera might have just bit the fucking dust. Let's try this again. Gotta love technical difficulties. Yes, remove. Let's try another video capture. There we go. There we go. Okay. We're back. That was... I meant for that to happen. Definitely. Okay. So, back to where we were at. We have our meatballs in the pan over here, looking nice, crispy, nice and soft. We've got our oil nice and hot for our veggies. So we'll just toss those right on in. And for your veggies, personally I like them just a little bit caramelized. And whoop. Don't touch hot pans at home, everybody. I have no feeling in my fingers. Don't do what I do. We're out of, or no, we have spray olive oil. Haha. It's a little bit dry still, so we're going to add a little bit more to that. And for this, you'll just come back, check on that every couple of minutes, make sure it is coming together well. Would you stop slowly turning my fucking camera? Thank you, friend. And hello to everyone on screen there. Obviously professional. Next step, we've got our avocado. And you're going to, if you don't know how to cut an avocado, I highly recommend you start cutting it in half. Nice and easy. You push through just far enough to hit the core. And then just spin it around your knife. And then from there, I'll do slice down the middle. We'll go 1, 2, 3 slices on one side, 1, 2, 3 on the other. And then your best friend is a spoon with your avocados. It'll scoop it out nice and easy. Still mostly keep its shape, but now we got that all sliced and ready to go. We will get this thing actually looking at the pan. And just gonna keep tossing these together. Let that stuff cook through all the way. And at this point, we can start assembling. Which, let's see. Hopefully come back up here. Is it gonna? No, it's gonna fall off. Okay. We're gonna stay over here. It's fine. So your first step is building your bowl with your rice. This guy pressure is released, so we'll just turn it and open it up. And nice and steamy. Yeah, that is looking good. And that, come to show you guys, it probably won't be too visible since it's white on white. Nah, you can kind of see it. So that finger technique for your amount of water, it is like, it's the only thing that every single time gets it right for me. It is super, super nice. So next step is our pickled veggies. Bring this over here. At this point, these are pretty much at room temperature. I'm lazy. I don't want to have to cook or clean anything else, so we're just going to grab some. But you'll usually want to grab a pair of tongs, anything to actually grab it through. And we'll start building our bowl on the outside here. Presentation is all about just kind of getting your colors mixed in well. Next up, we got our cucumbers, which we have our carrots there. I'm gonna awkwardly hold this up and assemble my bowl. So next up is our cucumbers. And again, just kind of layer them around the outside there. It is gonna be real awkward holding it this way, but we're gonna make it work. Let's see. Are we good now? There we go, that's better. Okay. Next step, we got our veggies that are all nice and caramelized here. And I will, again, put that around the outside. There we go. Excuse me while I wash this. All right. Next step is obviously your centerpiece of the dish. We are grabbing our meatballs next. Always grab your balls. Isn't it a nice kitchen, Rosie? Also, hi. So, I like to build it up from the middle for these. And I'm not going to make an actual Sean portion because in reality, I would be putting all of these in the bowl. I'll be honest. I eat too much food sometimes. And then next up, to continue our presentation, we are going to grab our avocado. And feathering technique is really easy. What you can do is hold your hand with your thumb right in the middle and just pull those pieces apart nice and easy. Set that on the inside there. Avocado always gets on my hands. There is no avoiding it. Okay, so we are looking like this right now. Next step is our sriracha mayo. And usually I would end up actually putting this in a sauce bottle, but I'm a little bit too lazy, so we are going to just use the fork and drizzle it right over the meatballs. Just a nice back and forth motion. So here we are. I got a little on the avocado. It's a little messy. That was my bad. But we're going to just keep doing it. We'll sprinkle in our green onions on the middle. And you can put the lime wedge wherever it, honestly, I feel like it fits perfectly in that avocado there. We are making a banh mi bowl right now. And this is just coming to the end. So next step, we have our nice sprigs of cilantro. And those I will kind of wrap up and around the edge, which will keep the carrots uncovered because they're the only thing that isn't just either tan or green in this bowl. And so here we are. We have our cilantro, our fresh cucumber, our quick pickled carrots. We have our avocado, our sauteed veggies, and our meatballs with our nice little garnish. And the last step, always gotta, whoop, sesame seeds. Oh my God, I am shaking like crazy. Let me grab something to actually set that on. Don't want to go giving anybody motion sickness right now. Okay, last little step. We'll just give a little sprinkle of sesame seeds on the top. And there is a banh mi bowl. If you missed any parts of the stream, I will have this up as a VOD. Feel free to check out the whole thing, but I am going to go absolutely annihilate this. Thank you guys. Bring it up to my face. Thank you guys so much for watching. That was, other than some minor technical difficulties with my camera, that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great night. I will be back tomorrow with my man Trustworthy Moves to play more Remnant from the Ashes. Have a great night, everybody.